Okay, for our chili, I'm going to tell you guys this is going to be different. If you guys have seen my video, and every time I'm filming, I always remember I need to paint my nails. But we're going to skip over that. So I have already made a chili recipe on my page before. That one is just as incredible. That one has bacon and a couple extra ingredients. But once again, we're just going to use what we have. And check out my new pan. It's like a high-walled one. And it's non-stick, which I love. But we are going to start with, you would think I would start, because this is like one pot, even though we're just going to cook things in layers, so that nothing like steams and just gets kind of weird. Everything develops its own color, its own flavor, and it's incredible. So you're just going to need basically like one giant mixing bowl on the side. So once everything's done cooking, you can go ahead and just keep layering and layering, and then you'll bring it all together. So first, I'm not going to add any oil, no fat, no nothing, because I want as much fat to render out as possible. I'm going to do our first meat, which is ground beef. I have 1 pound of ground beef. I know some of you guys are hating the fact that it's from a tube, but I'm telling you it tastes exactly the same whether it's from a tube or out of a flat package. And it was in the freezer, so it's okay. All right, we're just going to break this up, and we're going to try to render out as much fat as possible before we add any seasoning or flavorings to it. So I'm going to keep breaking this up, and then we'll check back in about 5 to 6 minutes when we're almost there. And remember, you are not wanting it to be fully cooked at this point. You're just wanting to render out fat, develop a little bit of color and some flavor. Now our beef is about like 99% of the way cooked, but look at all of this fat. Can you see that? That is a lot. I believe that was a pack of 80-20. But now what I'm gonna do is, like I mentioned, we're gonna take a big old mixing bowl. I'm just gonna put it right here. I know you guys can't see it, but I can, it's okay. And then I'm just gonna drain off as much as, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna put it over the sink, and we're gonna do a strainer because, yeah, I'm not scraping. Why did I get this? Anyway, you wanna get rid of 99% of this fat. You wanna keep just a tiny, tiny bit so that we can cook our next meat, which is gonna be some ground Italian sausage. It doesn't really matter whether it's in ground form or whether it's in links. I always take it out of the links if I happen to buy it like that. This I got from, where did I get it from? I got it from Aldi, and the ground, okay, I don't remember the exact price now, but I can tell you it was $1 and some change cheaper to get it already pre-ground rather than links. So save yourself some time and some money and get it already pre-ground. Now I'm gonna put this over the sink. I'm gonna drain this off, keep a tiny bit of the liquid, if anything, and we'll come back. And then we're gonna put it in our big mixing bowl. Okay, now that I have our beef out of the pot, I kept, you guys can see, I mean, it's maybe less than a tablespoon of the fat. I want a little bit of residual liquid in here, so instead of just kind of waiting for the fat to release, it's just, well, already there. And we are imparting flavor. Now, I'm gonna take the 1 pound, and that was 1 pound of ground beef first. Then we're gonna do 1 pound of Italian sausage. Okay, I guess I put the paper thing there. And put that all in there. Oh my, no, it's sticking. Guys. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna cook all of this up just the same exact way. We are not wanting it to be 100% cooked because everything is going to cook in the end. We just wanna break it up into good enough bits, and then we'll come back. Also, while our Italian sausage is still cooking, I definitely told you guys I was gonna add some type of seasoning to this. There is going to be a lot of seasoning that's going to come. So it's going to come when I start doing all the veggies and sweat all that out, and I'll talk about that more. So it's just our plain ground beef on the side. And then for the Italian sausage, it is so incredibly important that you use either mild or spicy. You do not want sweet. Sweet sausage is, well, of course, going to impart sweetness, and we do not want sweetness here because that's just not the flavor we're going for. I made the mistake of using it one time and it just wasn't pleasant. Now, if you really love sweet sausage, then feel free to use it. But to get the exact flavor I'm going for, definitely use mild or spicy. Okay, now that the Italian sausage is done, I'm gonna take our big bowl here and I'm just gonna put, or you guys can't even see that. I'm just adding the ground Italian sausage to the pot that had, or to the bowl, that had the ground beef, and I'm trying to drain off some of the fat here because of course we have to sweat down our veg. So if you guys can tell, I'm trying to be resourceful and not have to add more oil. and I guess make it heart healthy, even though olive oil is heart healthy. We're just trying to limit the amount of oil here and impart so much more flavor by having everything cooked in like 1 pot. Okay, my new favorite, not even my new favorite type of meals, but these are by far my favorite, especially if you guys live anywhere where you do not have a lot of counter space, or you do not have a giant sink where you can have like a billion dishes, because that is us. We do not have any counter space here. Okay, so I'm just gonna heat up a little bit of the fat. Now, for our vegetables, we're gonna go with a couple different things, and I'm gonna give you guys some options. First, we're gonna start with our white onion here. I just have 1 large onion diced up, and yes, I'm gonna add all this stuff together rather than layering it and just taking it out, because that's a lot of work. We already did that with the meat. I don't want you guys to not want to make this recipe because you guys feel like it's too tedious. Okay, so we have our onions in there, and I know everyone's like, where the hell is the seasoning? Trust me, it is coming. Then I have 1 green bell pepper. You can use red, yellow, orange, even the purple. Use any of them. I'll be honest, I think they taste all the same. Now, if you think they taste different, then that's on you. And then 2 very sad, like very pale green, I guess in comparison to this, pieces of celery. If you have the celery tops, please do not throw them out. Use them. They add even a lot more flavor. And I know there's a little seed there. It's okay. So we're gonna add all of this in there. So you have 1 onion, 1 bell pepper, and 2 ribs of celery. And if you don't like celery or you don't have it, feel free to leave it out. I do feel like every step in here is important to kind of have, but if you don't have something, don't make it stop you. And if you don't eat meat, well, I'm really sorry. I guess you can make a bean chili. I'll maybe try to look up some things of what I can to try to find a recipe that I feel like is really good without the beans or without the meat to make it with beans, but beef is just so good. Okay, so same concept. We're gonna let this cook for a bit, but we're gonna finally add our seasoning. And I already know you guys are gonna think the seasonings are pretty excessive, and they are. Some of them I'm going to cut back, so I will have the full ingredient list and the measurements I would use down below, but I'm gonna be a little bit shy with them just because this is gonna make a lot and Roman is gonna love this. And I just don't want it to be too spicy. But we are gonna add 4 tablespoons of chili powder. Now, 4 tablespoons is a lot. But remember, chili powder is a blend of chilies. They could be sweet, they could be spicy, they could be mild. It is a blend of multiple chilies, so every chili powder is very different. But for the sake of this being a family-friendly one, I'm gonna keep it down to 2 tablespoons. My chili powder that I have, I can't think of the brand, but it's very, very mild. It just gives you a nice smoky flavor, no heat. Then I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of oregano, 2 teaspoons of cumin, once again for like that super earthy, somewhat smoky depth of flavor. A teaspoon of basil. For once, I'm actually using a measuring spoon, guys. Okay, now this is the part where I don't use measuring spoon because I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons. I'm probably sure it's gonna be a bit more than that because I always say per pound of beef or per pound of any type of meat, especially ground, you want to use 1 teaspoon of salt. Then about equal parts of some black pepper. I always recommend, if you guys can buy, they sell these at the Dollar Tree, a cracker to freshly crack your own black pepper. I tell you, your food is going to taste so much better. Okay, now just because I don't want anything to burn, I want to develop color and flavor, I'm just going to mix everything around. And it's good because we're working on a low heat. See, you can already smell everything. Not only is the color going to change, it's going to become super, super dark, but you can already smell everything just coming together. It's so good. And it also kind of makes me have to sneeze. But we are going to add 1 teaspoon of cayenne. Now remember, cayenne is a very spicy pepper. It is where, well, that's where your heat is. The chili powder and this, nothing in common. Yes, there are 2 different types of spicy peppers, but chili powder is just a mix. Cayenne pepper is specifically cayenne peppers ground, dehydrated. I guess they'd be dehydrated before they're ground, and then put in here. This is spicy, so be careful with this. Feel free to exclude it completely or add just a little bit less. Then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of paprika. You can use either regular or smoked. I'm just gonna go with regular because we already have so many other smoky elements in here. And remember, paprika is just for color, not flavor, unless it is smoked. Then we're gonna shake this up really well. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of some Worcestershire sauce. I'm actually gonna use a little measuring spoon here. Tablespoon of that. And second to last step, a tablespoon of garlic. I know, it's not real garlic. It doesn't really taste like garlic because it's in the jar. I'm using it to get rid of it, and it's what I have. Just don't hate about it. It's okay. Then we are gonna add some, well, this is my own container of beef bouillon. So you can either do three cubes if you have them in the cube form, or you can do about a tablespoon of this. Now remember, this is salty, just like chicken bouillon or chicken bouillon powder. It is salty, so that's why I say you want to taste everything as you go. So, you know, there are some people who keep salt and pepper at the table, and as soon as they sit down, they automatically add it. I would always wait to taste your food and then feel free to season it, because you don't know how it's gonna be until you taste it. So now that I have all of the seasonings in here and I'm making sure nothing will burn, my flame is on. I'm gonna turn the heat back on, and we're gonna let all of this start to, well, the vegetables have already sweat? Okay. Someone correct me in the bottom. But we are just in the comment section. We are just going to mix all of this together. And you can already see the like oiliness is just, oh my God. I wish you guys could smell this. It is so, so good. It kind of reminds me of like a jambalaya or like a gumbo, where you just get everything really nice and dark and caramelized. I have a recipe that I found that I want to try for jambalaya, but when I went to the grocery store today, I did not buy the stuff for it because we have HelloFresh coming. So for those of you guys that are like, hey, where the hell are the videos? You say you post every other day and it's been like 2 weeks. I have an incredible friend, and she has been giving us free boxes of HelloFresh. HelloFresh, please sponsor your girl. I need boxes. But they are incredible. I love them. Once again, this is not sponsored, but hopefully one day it will be. I love the food. It's really good. And it's just super quick, but so are my videos. But anyway, I have just been making a lot of them, and we've been having a lot of fun kind of cooking together and trying like new concepts and stuff. And like, every time you have one of their meals, it sounds like it's sponsored because now I'm going into it. I should probably stop. But I'm going to show you guys the way they make their carrots. I guess technically I have to cook it myself, so I guess it's the way I make them. But it's so good. I already loved carrots, but having them that way made me love them even more. Okay, this is looking really, really good. We're starting to get, it is nonstick, but we're starting to get just a tiny little bit of like, not stickage, but it's definitely clinging to the pan a bit more, which is great. Now you know it is time to add your next step. Okay, next step, we are going to add 6 ounces. Yeah, 6 ounces, which is a small, tiny jar. It is oh my goodness. It's 6 ounces. That's what we're adding. It's a small jar of tomato paste. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. That's a lot of tomato paste. It definitely is, but you get so much flavor. Just like whenever you're making like a beef stew or a curry and you add your tomato paste, instantly it is just heightened. Everything just tastes so, so much better whenever you add a tomato product. Okay, once you have scraped everything out of this jar to get all of your 30 cents worth, I think that's good. Then I always say this, anytime we are working with tomato paste, I like to smash it into everything. And even if it's just tomato paste in a pan by itself, you want to wake it up. It's been sitting in a metal jar, and also, I guess it would be a can. Also, remember, any tomato product, and I'm gonna say it again because I'm about to add some canned tomatoes in here, you need to let everything hit the heat and really just waken up the flavors and allow everything to just come together and not taste very metallic-y. If you guys have ever had tomato sauce or tomato paste, anything, and you're like, why does this taste like metal? I don't like it. It isn't good. Let me add a bunch of sugar. It's because you didn't naturally allow it to sweeten while it's in the pan. And you'll see it almost changes colors as well. So good. Then to this mixture, I'm gonna add, this is a 14.5 ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. You can absolutely do crushed tomatoes, but I will tell you are gonna get more of like a soupiness than like a thick chili. So I guess it all depends on how you like to eat it and what you eat it on or with. Then that, I guess, will determine whether you use crushed or diced. Okay, there's 1 can. Now I'm gonna add a 2nd can of the same thing, petite diced tomatoes, with the juice, all the liquid. If you wanted to go a little bit further and you wanted either a bit more flavor or just a bit more heat, you can do the one that has green chilies too. I've definitely done it, and it's really, really good. I feel like I have one of those in the pantry, but I also feel like I definitely used it up the last time. Either way, we had everything, so that was good. So the same thing, like I said, with the tomato paste, you want to cook out these tomatoes. I'm working on like a medium high heat, but of course this is a big pot. Okay, keep scraping from the sides. And to this entire mixture right here, I'm gonna add 2 of our cans of beans. If you guys watched my last chili video, you guys will say, okay, well, those aren't the same beans you're using. They're not, because I wanted to use these up. I kid you not, about 15 cans of pinto beans, black beans, kidney, garbanzo. It's like bean boozled, bean bonanza there. But we are adding it with the liquid. Yes, I know, it looks like syrup. It does not look attractive whatsoever, but I promise you it tastes good. That is where all the nutrients is, especially when you cook them down like this. Okay, can Amber get that last bean out there? Yes, I was fighting the can for 1 bean. So the other ones that I used last time were the like chili beans, and it's not a cop out to use the chili beans. They just have a lot of seasoning. It's not that it has meat. You're not copping out by using a pre-made chili. It is just, oh my God, it is so perfect. Guys, also, you would think I would be making this and it's like snowing outside and it's so cold. No, I was wearing shorts earlier and right now I am sweating my ass off. It is so hot in here. It has to be like 85 degrees in the house. Then I'm gonna add another can of pinto beans. This one's a bit more watery, but it's okay. Did I open the can? Okay. Why do they look different too? Maybe because they're organic? Okay. Then the same thing, we're gonna do a bit of mixy. And I'm definitely glad I used this one. Every time I always use my white Dutch oven to make my chili. And I probably should have stuck with that, but I wanted to test this pan to the limits and see how far it could go. Okay, now I've turned our heat to a medium high. I guess we were still on that to begin with. And I know you guys are like, damn, is she done yet? We've been at this video for so long. You keep adding ingredients. But let me tell you, it is all worth it. Now, before we are done, we have to add back our meat, our Italian sausage. I have to sneeze, oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna have to add our Italian sausage back in and our ground beef. And if there's any juice or sauce or liquid or something, add all that back in because that is flavor, baby. Then we have to ever so gently, if we even can, add back in our meat and fold it in. Now remember, our Italian sausage was about like 95% of the way cooked. Ground beef, it's 100% done. So we're just now allowing everything to get warm. Of course, the beans were in a can, so they're like room temperature. But now we're just gonna add a lid on this. Remember, this is like a red brownish kind of sauce, so you do not wanna get this all over your clothes, all over your stove. Okay, let's do a final little mix, try to press down. And obviously you guys can see this pan is completely full. It's about 4.5 inches high. This is an F ton of chili, like a ton. But oh my gosh, you can freeze this. It was so nice to have, like, when you guys know Brad was deployed, it was so nice to make a gigantic batch of this, basically this portion, and just have it for a really long time. And it was nice to portion it out in smaller portions. How dumb does that sound? But it was nice to have in like basically like meal prepping without having to do chicken and vegetables. It was just good. Okay, I'm gonna add a lid onto this and stop talking. And then we'll come back in about maybe 4 to 5 minutes. It's really not gonna take long. We just want everything to get nice and warm. Okay, now everything is heated up really nicely. I like to drain off the water from the lid. I just feel like sometimes you keep putting it on and taking it off, then it just gets super soupy, and I'm not here for that. But see all of this like nice saucy juiciness that you have? It's from leaving the juice in the cans of beans. So if you were to make your own, let's say dry beans, and you have some of those either left over or you're making them for this, I would keep some of the liquid. I'd say about a half of a cup of liquid per can, so maybe a full cup. And you can use chicken broth, beef broth, water, whatever you have. So now I'm gonna fill it up in our bowl here. So excited. Okay, should I do one more scoop? Yeah, we're gonna do about like 1.5. Okay, so then we have our chili. Now we're gonna talk toppings. Okay, For chili, a must for me is a big, Dad, if you're watching this, close your eyes. I know you don't like sour cream. A big old scoop of sour cream. I don't want to add it on now because I know it's going to cover it up. I like half of an avocado, a bunch of green onions, and the juice of a lime. I don't like cheese on it. Don't ask me why. It's just not my thing. But I mean, like, look at everything else. You need to make this.